Okay guys, so we're going to work on primary, secondary, tertiary, and tints and shades of all these things. So I've got black, white, yellow, red, blue. Those are the only colors you're going to have to create all these different colors. You're also going to have a sheet that's labeled with what you're going to put on it, a cup of water, only filled up halfway with cold, and paper towel. You want to dry your brush off in between each time you rinse so that it's not wet. So we're going to start out with the colors going here, the tints of the colors going in the center circle, and the shades of each color going out here. Obviously, yellow is really easy. So you're just going to dip into yellow. And you want to try and stay in the lines. Now, the next color I'm going to go ahead and do my orange. I'm just going to go right there. And to make orange, you just have quite a bit of yellow and some red. This is actually pretty dark, so I'm going to go ahead and add some extra yellow. And I'm going to do my orange right here. You do want to try and stay in the lines. Keeping it nice and neat. For my yellow orange, literally all you're going to do is take some of this orange over here and mix more yellow in, which is just going to give you a much lighter orange. Now if you want, you can go through and do the tints and the shades of each one of these colors, or you can wait until the end and do the tints and shades of each one of these colors. It really kind of is whatever you're more comfortable with. You do want to make sure there's a very definite color difference for each one. You don't want to have everything looking exactly the same. So I've got my yellow orange, my regular orange, and now I'm going to do my red orange, which is just going to be taking that orange and adding some red to it. You do want to make sure there's still a difference between your red and your red orange. You don't want it to just be red. That's a lot of red. Let me try to get some of this orange over here, because we don't want it to just be red. We want it to be red-orange. At any time you can pause this video and you can go back and redo it. And it may be easier for you guys to just go ahead and do the tints and shades. I'll go ahead and put my red on there, and then we'll go ahead and do the tints and shades of those. So I get my red. And the reason we dry the brush off in between uses is so that it doesn't make a sloppy mess on our paper. All right, so right there I've pretty much got my warm colors. Red violet is also a warm color, but we're going to go ahead and work on the tints and shades of these as well before they dry out. So for a tint of yellow, I'm going to take my yellow and I'm going to add white. Because when you add white, it makes the color lighter, which is a tint of the color. And it may be that you have to add a little bit more white. Any color added with white is really going to take over the white color, so we do want it to be lighter than the yellow. And I think we've got that, except that's actually where our shade goes. We're going to put our tint down here. We're going to put our tint down here for this one. Ignore that, that's where your shade goes, but since we're going to put a dark color up there, it'll just disappear. So for my shade, I would just add black to yellow, but we'll go ahead and finish these up first. Since I've got my yellow orange mixed right there, I'm going to add my white in to the yellow orange, and it should be lighter. And the reason you make a color wheel is so you can understand how colors interact with each other in the other projects that we do as well. Right here we're going to have a tint of a regular orange. And your tints should be lighter. But you should still see a definite color difference down here as well. I'm getting a little bit sloppy just because I'm trying not to make this take forever. This really should take you a couple of days to do, guys. All right, I've got my red orange. I'm going to also add white to that. Kind of gives you a nice flesh color. Definitely not my flesh color. I'm not this tan. And we're going to go ahead and take some of this red. We're going to add some white to the red, which will give us pink. A lovely shade of pink. And you can tell I'm not rinsing my brush out in between each thing, in between each color rather. And it's not always necessary. If I jumped across the color wheel, it would be. All right, so now we're going to work on some of our shades for these warm colors. I am going to rinse my brush out because I don't want to add white to the dark colors. That wouldn't make much sense. So I've got my yellow, and I'm just going to add a teeny tiny bit of black. Doesn't take much. Black is going to overpower everything. And I'm going to go ahead and paint that up here. When you get done with this, it should actually look pretty nice. Might be something you would want to hang up at your house, so you do want to take your time. Looks like I've run out here, so I'm going to make some more. So there you can see the tint, the real color, and the shade. We're gonna go ahead and do that with the yellow orange, which I've got some of that left right here. Just gonna scoop that up. We're gonna add a little bit of black. Probably gonna have to make more of this because there was too much black. So I'm gonna add some yellow to it and some orange to it. A little bit more of my orange. Now, it shouldn't have been that difficult, but I did have to make more of that color, so that was where we were struggling. We do want to pay attention to the lines and try to stay in the lines as much as possible. It's making a lovely muddy brown color, but it's really the shade. I think I may give you guys slightly larger brushes, or this may take forever. All right. Now we're going to do our shade of orange. I did rinse my brush out this time, but it just felt like there was a lot of paint on there. So I've got my orange still left over there. So I think I'm just going to take a little bit of black. Mix it in. You can tell that black overpowers it so fast. All right. Oof. Doing these is taking quite a bit of paint. So probably gonna have to mix up more of my orange for it. All right, and then on my regular orange, which apparently I've gotten quite a bit of paint on, we're gonna go ahead and mix up some regular, or I'm sorry, it is red orange. We're gonna go ahead and mix up some red orange. Get our red orange going. All right, so we've got our red orange. We're gonna add some black to make our shade of red orange. You only wanna add a very little bit of black. And there is my shade of red orange. I'll go ahead and paint that up here. Okay, got that red orange shade nice on there. When you're doing this, you want to make sure that everything is nice and filled in. I know I have some spots that are not so nice and filled in, and I'm going to go ahead and do my shade for my red. Which was just the red. And adding just a little bit of black, nothing crazy. Because a little bit of black goes a long way. And red and black basically make like a maroon color. And you do want that to go right to the very edge. Painting it very nicely. I have to make some more here. So we're gonna stop this one here because I think this is all you're gonna get through the first day anyway. You may not even get through all of this in one day, and if you don't, that's okay. I'd rather you take your time and do a nice job. So that's what we have so far. We've got our tints and our shades for this part. I think I will actually go ahead and do the red violet. Red violet is just a reddish purplish color. So I'm going to go ahead and take my red, quite a bit of my red, trying not to get all these other colors that are in here, and then just some of my blue, because we want it to be mostly reddish colored for the violet. Yeah, it's interesting that red violet's pretty close to my tint, or I'm sorry, my shade. Okay, I'm going to take some of my red violet and I'm going to add some white. I've got a lot of colors going on here, and that's perfectly fine. Just just want to make sure every color is very different. And so far, we've been able to achieve that. As these dry, they'll change just a little bit. I'm going to take what is left of my red violet here, and I'm going to add just a little bit of black to go ahead and get that shade on there. All right, so we have half of our color wheel done, guys, and we're gonna stop right here for now.